Oh, hey there. What is going on, everyone? So glad that you guys are here. Welcome to the experience. Welcome to the journey, baby. You guys sometimes might know who this guy is. Sometimes you guys might not know who I am. It doesn't matter. Regardless, you are going to have an amazing, awesome session learning literature, baby. And the lesson that I have chosen to teach you guys is none other than the Nightingale and the Rose. Why did your Javed sir choose that lesson? The reason is that I believe that it is one of the most heaviest lessons in your syllabus. To be honest, teachers hate the Nightingale and the Rose. Teachers loathe the Nightingale and the Rose. They don't even teach the Nightingale and the Rose properly. And what's going on, Mari? I'm glad you're here. Everyone else also glad you guys are here, okay? If you don't know who I am, that's completely fine. If you know who I am, if you've been to my classes in the past, you guys know how much of a valuable session that we are going to have today, right? The lesson that I chose again was the Nightingale and the Rose. The reason is many people think that the Nightingale and the Rose, and what's going on, Shahad? Glad you're here, dude. Many people think that the Nightingale and the Rose is one of the heaviest lessons in your syllabus. Not exactly. If you learn the lesson properly, of course, it's going to be a insanely easy cakewalk. What's going on, Vitushani? Glad you're also here. And Reshma, what's going on? Glad to see you also. It's good to see a few familiar faces in this seminar here. So here's the deal, okay? Now you guys know that the Nightingale and the Rose is one of the 4 short stories in your syllabus. All 4 of these short stories are taught in grade 10. So if you're a grade 10 pupil, you must have learned a few of these short stories. If you are a grade 11 pupil, by now you must have learned all 4 of these short stories. They are the Nightingale and the Rose. One, we have the Lumber Room, and then we have 2 more short stories which are non-fiction. So there are 2 kinds of short stories in your syllabus. Altogether, there are 4 short stories, right? Out of these 4 short stories that are exclusive to the grade 10 syllabus, 2 of them fall under fiction, while the other 2 falls under non-fiction. What are the fictional prose? One is the Nightingale and the Rose. What do you mean by fiction? Fiction means poetry, right? And then we have the Lumber Room. These are fake stories. The other 2 extracts, the other 2 prose are actually under non-fiction. For example, if you take a look at the Lahore attack, an extract from Colin Cowdrey lecture, the Lahore attack, that falls under short non-fiction. Apart from that, an extract from Wave by Sonali Dharaniyagal. In our syllabus, we like calling them Wave and the Lahore attack. The actual titles are an extract from Wave and an extract from Colin Cowdrey lecture, the Lahore attack. We won't be talking about those in this class. We'll be exclusively talking about the Nightingale and the Rose, baby. You guys should know that if you choose the Nightingale and the Rose. And by the way, the seminar is going to get crowded after a bit, so you guys can also find the exact session streamed in our YouTube channel. So if you guys take a look at isaac.com, if you go under YouTube, you guys can find the exact seminar. The seminar is not going anywhere. It will be under lives, by the way. If you go under isaac.com, right on YouTube, I show you guys, by the way. There we go. There we go. You see, you see the exact same seminar is right on our screen right here. So let me share the link with you also. So if for some reason, if you leave the seminar, you can join through YouTube, right? And you guys can watch the entire seminar whenever you guys have free time. Okay, so here's the deal. We're talking about the Nightingale and the Rose. Let me take out our presentation for this class. How can you get these presentations? There are many presentations, by the way, okay? I have made a presentation for every single lesson in your syllabus. What's going on, Shahid? Glad you're here, dude. Here's the deal, though. When I click under, give me a moment. This is under the prose, of course, and this is the Nightingale and the Rose. How many prose are in your syllabus, Nangi? There are 4 prose in your syllabus. And out of these 4 prose, 2 fall under short non-fiction and 2 fall under short fiction. What does the Nightingale fall under? The Nightingale falls under short non-fiction. Short fiction is what the Nightingale and the Rose falls under. What do you mean by short fiction? It's poi katava boru, right? It's a fake story. It is a fictional story. It falls under short fiction. Are there any grade 11 short stories? Are there any grade 11 prose in your syllabus? Of course not. No. There are only grade 10 prose in your syllabus. All 4 of these prose must be learned by you. If you're a grade 11 pupil and you have not learned these prose, my God, you're in trouble. Learn literature in the beginning as much as you can, cover the syllabus, because literature is not a subject that you can learn in the last moment. Like 2-3 days before the exam, you can't learn a single thing from literature. It's such a heavy syllabus. Complete literature in the beginning and focus on the other subjects. For example, there are subjects with MCQs, right? You can learn those subjects in the last minute, but you can't learn literature in the last minute. And I promise you, literature is crazy, easy, unexpectedly easy if you have a good teacher on your side. I will serve you as your good teacher, as your friend. I'm your Javed sir, right? Here's the deal though. When we talk about the nightingale and the rose, you have to know what the nightingale is, right? You guys can't understand what the nightingale and the rose is without knowing what the nightingale is. The nightingale is a garden bird. So easy, right? The nightingale is basically a garden bird, a bird that you will see in your garden. Not in Sri Lanka, obviously, but it's a bird that you can expect to find in your garden. That's easy, right? Apart from that, you guys should also know that there is a special technique in the nightingale and the rose. The animals are behaving like humans. They are really behaving like humans. One more time, in the nightingale and the rose, there are non-human things, okay? For example, there are animals, there are trees, there are non-humans in the nightingale and the rose. There are actually a few human characters. For example, the young student is a human character. What do you mean by a young student? He's a young student. He's young and he's a student. The young student. There's another character called the professor's daughter. We have another character. She is the professor's daughter. If you don't know who the professor's daughter is, she is the professor's daughter. So these are human characters, okay? There's also a Chamberlain's nephew, not very important. We'll talk about those characters in a bit. But remember, the non-human characters like animals and like trees, all right? Trees, you can call them fauna and flora if you really want to get scientific. Now, these non-human characters are really given human qualities. Many of you might like calling this what a sonification. Personification. But to be honest, it's not exactly personification that we find in the nightingale and the rose, because personification is purely imaginary. Now, when I say that the eagle has hands, right? He clasps the crag with crooked hands. The Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson, fragment of a poem under the theme of what, Nangi? Under the theme of nature. You might know that there is personification because the eagle doesn't have real hands. In the poem, The Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson, a fragment, 2-stanza poem, 3 lines per stanza, tessette, triple A, triple B rhyming scheme, rhyming tessettes we call them. If you take a look at that poem, the eagle doesn't really have hands. But in this short story, in this prose, this is categorized as a prose, right? In this prose, the nightingale is really behaving like a human. She has human emotions. She behaves like a human. She sacrifices herself. That is crazy. So there's another technique here. Give me a moment, by the way. A few pupils are trying to join our class here. So I'll help them out. Thanks again for your patience, by the way. Okay, I appreciate that you guys are here on a Tuesday night, man. Tuesday nights are busy nights, right? You guys basically have a lot of work. Of course, tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is a school day. You have a lot of work, but you're here because you care about literature. And I'm here to give you the best rendition of literature. What's going on? Chatil, glad you're here, dude, okay? Glad everyone is here, by the way. So again, there is another technique like personification. When you are giving human qualities to a non-human thing, and you are really doing it, you're not imagining it. You really say that these animals are behaving like humans. That is called anthropomorphism, all right? It is a word that you can use once or twice. Don't worry if the word is difficult. Just remember the animals in the nightingale and the rose are behaving really like humans. What's going on, Amina? Glad you're here. You're a one-girl army, right? Here's the deal, okay? It's called anthropomorphism. So this is a technique that some teachers talk about. Some teachers completely avoid this technique. But what do you mean by anthropomorphism or anthropomorphistic? Anthropomorphistic. stick nightingale, all right? It's a very difficult word, I know. You don't have to learn this word, but if you know it, it really helps you. Remember, it's a bit advanced than personification. Personification is merely an imaginary thing. Anthropomorphism is when the narrator believes that these are real. For example, in Tom and Jerry, right? In Tom and Jerry, there's a cat who behaves like a human, and then there is a mouse who behaves like a human. If you take a look at Tom and Jerry, they are anthropomorphic because they are really behaving like humans in the cartoon. Inside the cartoon, they are really behaving like humans. Equally, in the Nightingale and the Rose also, the characters behave like anthropomorphistic characters. There are anthropomorphistic characters. That's the word, right? It's a mouthful. Anthropomorphistic. Anthropomorphism is in the Nightingale and the Rose, not personification. Very rarely can you find personification in the Nightingale and the Rose. What do you mean by personification? Personification means you are giving human qualities to a non-human thing. For example, you say that the camera is watching me. I am kissing the bottle. These days it's raining, right? In your area, in my area, it's really cold. It's raining these days. And you guys know that personification can be used in any situation. You can say that in the early morning, the fan is turning its head and looking at me, right? The fan is looking at me, is turning its head and looking at me in the early morning. You can say that the bed sheet is hugging you in the early morning. Your bed sheet is hugging you in the early morning. You try to get up in the morning, but your bed is calling your name. These are examples for personification, giving human qualities to a non-human thing. But what can you find in the Nightingale and the Rose? One step above personification, that's called anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism is found in many cartoons. If you've seen SpongeBob SquarePants, you might have seen anthropomorphism. If you've seen Tom and Jerry, you might have seen anthropomorphism. If you've seen Dora the Explorer, right? A huge fan of Dora. In that, her backpack and her map, they are anthropomorphistic. Hope you understand the word. The word is anthropomorphism, anthropomorphistic. In the Nightingale and the Rose, there is anthropomorphistic. There's an anthropomorphistic, anthropo. I spelled it wrong. Apologies. Anthropomorphistic, anthropomorphistic Nightingale. If you forget the word, don't worry. It's not very important at all. It's a very easy word to spell, right? Anthropomorphistic. There is anthropomorphism in the Nightingale and the Rose. Why not, Ammar? Genius you are. Even Boots, Dora's monkey, is also anthropomorphistic. So remember, in the Nightingale and the Rose, there are anthropomorphistic characters. There are some minor characters that you see on your screen, right? There is a butterfly. There is a daisy. There is a rose. There are 3 rose trees, by the way, in the Nightingale and the Rose. There is a white rose tree, there is a yellow rose tree, and there is a red rose tree. Don't write these parts down, but memorize them. Are these ordinary trees and flowers and animals? Or are these anthropomorphistic? All of these creatures are anthropomorphistic in the Nightingale and the Rose. They are really behaving like humans. They feel human emotions, and that's called anthropomorphistic. Can we find anthropomorphistic objects in real life? Of course we can't, right? In the morning, your bed will not talk to you. Your toilet will not call your name. Your bottle will not really kiss you. In real life, we find more like personification. I can personify objects, but anthropomorphism is found purely in fictional stories. But in the story, the object or the creature is really acting like humans. Hope you understand that, okay? So there is a little green lizard, there is a home oak tree, there is a butterfly, there is a daisy, and there are 3 kinds of rose trees. Not 1, not 2, but there are 3 kinds of rose trees. The first rose tree is the rose tree that grows in the center of the grass plot. There are 3 rose trees, okay? The first rose tree grows in the center of the grass plot. That is white. Kiri sudui, right? Suduma sudui, right? And after that, there is another rose tree that grows around the sundial. That rose tree is yellow color. And finally, the Nightingale goes to a rose tree. What color is that rose tree? A red color. Now, if you remember the title of the Nightingale and the Rose, it's very easy for you to understand that. The Nightingale, right? and the rose are two important parts in the story. It's a story about a nightingale and a rose. But I mentioned that there are three kinds of rose trees. But what is the main color of the rose tree? What do you guys think? By the way, you guys, sometimes if you leave the meeting, you might not be able to join. Please watch the YouTube link if you leave, okay? There's a YouTube link, of course, and you guys can watch the exact same seminar on YouTube. You're right. Genius, you are Vitushani. The red, exactly. Azkia. The red rose is the most important rose in this story. So what are the minor characters you find in the nightingale and the rose? Apart from the nightingale and the young student and the professor's daughter, there are some minor characters. And these minor characters are anthropomorphistic. One more time. They are anthropomorphistic. Sometimes your teacher, nice job by the way, Nangi. Well done. Yeah, Fa. You're right. It is a red rose, right? Sometimes your teacher might tell you anthropomorphism is out of syllabus. True. Anthropomorphism, anthropomorphism is out of syllabus, but you can use it once in the Nightingale and the Rose. You can say the plot. What do you mean by the plot? Plot means story. You can say that the plot revolves around a anthropomorphic nightingale. Isn't that easy? The plot revolves around a anthropomorphistic nightingale. So right now, we're focusing on the Nightingale and the Rose. That is the title of the lesson. How many short stories are in your syllabus? There are 4 short stories in our syllabus. Apart from that, you guys also know that these 4 short stories are under the grade 10 syllabus, but grade 11 pupils must learn all of them. Aren't our phones kind of anthropomorphistic because they can talk? Not exactly. I understand what you mean, but even though the phones can talk, the phones are not really human, right? They don't feel emotions. Now, for example, if you were to throw your phone across the room, your phone isn't going to cry, right? So it doesn't feel human emotions. That's why your phones are not anthropomorphistic. But well done, Yasin. And you're Alia's brother, right? See, I recognize your name. You're the only Asun Kao that I know, man. And so tell Alia hi, by the way, okay? If you see her, you're gonna see her, of course. All right, gonna move forward because she's your sister, right? As I was saying, there are some themes in the Nightingale and the Rose. A very simple short story, a short story that revolves around a nightingale and a rose, a fictional short story. And in this simple fictional short story, there are 5 themes. The 5 themes are: 1, we have love. There is conditional love versus sacrificial love. Now tell me, Nangi, do your parents love you conditionally or unconditionally? Your parents love you unconditionally, right? Now, for example, if you take a look at like your mom and dad, right? They don't tell you, hey, become doctor, I love you. Be doctor, then I love you. No. From the day you're born, they love you. Even though you might make mistakes, you might have some shortcomings, you might have failed in a few places in life, they still love you. Your parents love you unconditionally. So what does conditional love mean? It means if you give me one thing, I will give you something else. Do you understand that? If you give me one thing, I will give you something else. And that is called conditional love. By the way, if you leave the meeting, you have to join through YouTube, okay? So I think that the meeting is already full. You guys can watch the exact seminar on YouTube. Moral decline. Moral degradation is what you think, right, Shahil? Moral degradation means your morality is becoming lesser. You are losing your morality. That right there is not exactly a theme. Yeah, you're right. It's there. You're right. Moral degradation or the morality getting lost is also kind of a theme in the Nightingale and the Rose. We'll talk about that, okay? That is also another theme that you find in the Lambaru. Moral degradation, that means bad people are becoming even worse. Bad people are becoming even more bad. We'll talk about that in a bit. However, right now, we're talking about love. And there are 2 kinds of love. There is conditional love. We don't use unconditional love. We say sacrificial love. So your parents love you conditionally. And if someone has conditional love, if someone says that, hey, if you give me this, I will give you that. If you buy me If you buy me Rolex watch, I will love you. That is not real love, right? That is materialism. Yes, you can find materialism here in the Nightingale and the Rose. But first of all, let's talk about conditional love. The professor's daughter. Now, again, when you learn literature, you're like a lawyer, okay? Whatever you say, you have to be able to prove it. If not, you won't get marks. You are not like an artist, because many teachers think that literature is an artistic subject. No, literature is more like a philosophical, it is an evidence-based subject. You are like a lawyer when you learn literature. So as I was saying, whatever you are going to talk about in the exam, you must be able to prove it. So right now, you know that there is a protagonist. What do you mean by protagonist? Main character. The main character is the Nightingale. There's another protagonist also. We'll talk about them in a bit. But right now, you know that there is conditional love, and then there is sacrificial love. Conditional love is not real love. Sacrificial love is real love, but it's exaggerated. It's unnecessarily tense. We'll talk about these in a bit. There is reason versus passion. There is mere theoretical education creates an unbalanced individual. All of these parts we'll understand when we go through the presentation. I'll also make the presentation available to you guys. I'll let you know how you can get these presentations. But right now, I want to remind you guys, what do you mean by reason versus passion? Reason means you're using your logical thinking. There we go. Reason means logical thinking. Before you take a decision, you are thinking logically. You are not being impulsive. You are not letting your passion dictate you. When are we passionate? When are we impulsive? We get impulsive. Impulsive means you are doing without thinking. Impulsive. Or you are letting your emotions control you. When are you impulsive? When are you passionate? When you are in love, when you are angry, when you are hungry, right? You do impulsive things, right? When you are in love, when you are angry, or when you are hungry. So logical thinking or reason is the opposite of that. We'll talk about these things when going through the short story. But right now, you guys should also learn a word called hypocrisy. This part is really easy. Mere theoretical education creates an unbalanced individual. Now, you guys might have seen a few people with degrees and with a lot of qualifications, but they are not practical. I have seen so many people in life. I've seen teachers also. They have degrees. They have 15 years experience, but they are not practical. They don't understand the practicality of the subject. They only look at the technical side of the subject. That's why they fail as teachers. Another example, in real life also, there are people who are highly educated, but they are unsuccessful. What's the reason? What's going on, Zaid? Glad you're here, dude. The reason is they are not practical. They are merely educated. That's it. So only education will not help you in your life. You must educate yourself and you must be practical. We'll talk about these themes, okay? What do you mean by hypocrisy? Hypocrisy means a person going against their own philosophies. A person going against their own rules is called hypocrisy. Now, for example, you might have learned about the vendor of sweets, right? Put your hands up if you're learning the vendor of sweets, baby. In the vendor of sweets, there is a character called Jagan, and Jagan doesn't eat sugar, okay? There is Mariam, there is Zulfa, there is Amana, there is Sarah, there is Rinoz, Amina, there is Abia, there is Fatima, there is Mariam, there's Noof, so you guys are all doing the vendor of sweets. Amazing. Javed sir teaches, there's Yasin, there is Zia. So Javed sir teaches all 3 novels, by the way. And the vendor of sweets, I teach really well. How many chapters are in the vendor of sweets? 13 chapters, right? What's the name of the protagonist in the vendor of sweets? Jagan. Jagannath is his name, real name. So if you take a look at Jagan in the vendor of sweets, or Jagannath, he is a hypocrite because he sells sweets. He sells sugar, but he does not eat sweets. So he's a hypocrite. He goes against his own philosophies. Imagine that there is a religious person, okay? There's a religious person, but when that person is alone, he does harami vela. A person who appears to be religious, but he does harami, unholy vela. That person is also a hypocrite. For example, you might have heard of this kind of joke, denim for Abdullah, hijab for Allah, right? Some girls, they wear hijab and they pretend to be really religious girls, but then they wear denim. like for Abdullah, right? Exactly. So to attract Abdullah, I'm kidding. We have good Muslim girls here, right? Javed says also Muslim. It doesn't matter what religion you're from, Javed still loves you. As I was saying, so if you are going against your own philosophies, you're a hypocrite. In The Nightingale and the Rose, there is a professor's daughter, okay? And she is a negative character. She is like a selfish and a materialistic character. What do you mean by materialist? She wants a lot of things. She wants money. She wants jewels. She wants things. People who want a lot of things are called materialistic. You're right, Zia. She's even self-centered. But mainly, she is a materialistic girl. She wants valuable things to make her happy. There are people who want a lot of things in their life. People who own like 10 watches, 10 pairs of shoes, people who own like 3 or 4 vehicles. Materialistic. They love material possessions. The professor's daughter is a materialistic person. We'll talk about the professor's daughter in The Nightingale and the Rose. But remember that the professor's daughter is a materialistic person. We'll talk about all of these themes again when we end the class. But right now, we're talking about the first theme. What is the first theme, Nangi? Conditional love versus sacrificial love. What do you mean by conditional love? Give me this, then I will love you. That's kind of ugly, right? Imagine in real life, if a girl or a boy tells you to give them something valuable and only then will they love you. It is really ugly, right? It doesn't feel halal if someone says that they love you if you buy them iPhone, buy them diamond watch. Do you understand? So there is conditional love, which is very negative in The Nightingale and the Rose. And then there is sacrificial love. What do you mean by sacrificial love? What do you mean by sacrificing? It means giving up something that you have for your benefit or someone else's benefit. What do you mean by sacrificing? It means you're giving up something for someone else's benefit, not for your benefit. So remember, the two characters that I am going to talk about now is the Nightingale. Is she a Summa Nightingale or is she a anthropomorphic Nightingale? A Nightingale that behaves like a human. A Nightingale that has human qualities. She is a anthropomorphic Nightingale, a Nightingale that behaves like a human. What do you mean by a Nightingale? A Nightingale is an innocent garden bird, okay? Excuse my drawing, but the Nightingale is a very innocent garden bird. However, the professor's daughter in The Nightingale and the Rose is such a negative character. She is the professor's daughter. The professor's daughter is a negative character. One moment. TER, 1 second. There we go. Boom. As I was saying, the professor's daughter has conditional love, while the Nightingale has sacrificial love. So easy, right? In The Nightingale and the Rose, the short story, grade 10 short story, under short fiction. In The Nightingale and the Rose, the professor's daughter has conditional love and the Nightingale has sacrificial love. What do you mean by conditional love? She will only love you if you give her things to make her happy. What is that? Conditional love means she will only love you if you give her things to make you happy. However, unconditional love means, or sacrificial love means, giving up something to make other people happy. The Nightingale and the Rose, in The Nightingale and the Rose, the Nightingale and the professor's daughter are polar opposite characters. They are 100% opposite. They are completely opposite. And you guys also know, if you were to get married in the future, not now, okay, you guys are doing O-levels now, right? In like 10 years' time, when you guys get married, you guys will find someone with conditional love or sacrificial love. You guys will find someone with sacrificial love, not conditional love, right? So we have to prove how the professor's daughter has conditional love. We have to prove how the Nightingale has sacrificial love. How do we do it? By taking out extracts from the prose. It's a very short prose. There are only a few extracts, and these are the extracts that juxtapose. It's a very interesting word, juxtaposition. It means you are contrasting two opposite things. Conditional love and sacrificial love are opposite things, right? So I contrast them. I juxtapose them. Too easy, right? What's the first example? You see, the Nightingale and the Rose begins with this proclamation, with this huge announcement. She said that she would dance with me if I brought her red roses, cried the young student. But in all my garden, there is no red rose. The young student in the Nightingale and the Rose says that. She said, who is she, by the way? Very easy, Nangi. She is the professor's daughter. She said that she would dance with me if I brought her red roses, cried the young student. He's yelling it out. But in all my garden, there is no red rose. So the professor's daughter has conditional love, right? Why is she capital? Because that is a tradition. Now, for example, in the Nightingale and the Rose, in To the Evening Star, in the poem To the Nile, it is a very traditional thing to capitalize the first word in every creation. Now, for example, in Into the Evening Star, thou fair-haired angel of the evening, that's the beginning, first line of Into the Evening Star, right? In that, thou is capitalized. In To the Nile, son of the old moon mountains, African is the first line. And in that line, son is capitalized. So usually it's a tradition to capitalize the first word of a creation, but it also gives importance, right? It also shows importance. When you capitalize something, it gives you importance. Put your hands up if you're learning Bringing Tony Home, the third novel in your syllabus, Bringing Tony Home by Tissa Abesekara. In Bringing Home, there's a part where the narrator says that he is going to bring Tony home, walk with him all the way from Depanam to Egodavatta. In that, the entire sentence is in capital, so sometimes capitalizing a word can be as a tradition or it can be to give importance. She says that after all, everyone knew that. Absolutely, you're right, Zia. But the girl frowned. I'm afraid it will not go with my dress. And everybody know. And besides, the Chamberlain's nephew has sent me some real jewels, and everybody knows that jewels are far more valuable than flowers. That jewels cost more than flowers. I remember the extract. We'll memorize these extracts. Okay, what's the first extract to prove conditional love? The young student, who is another protagonist in The Nightingale and the Rose. What does he say? She said that she would dance with me if I brought her red roses. Who is she? She is the professor's daughter. That's a condition, right? Now, for example, I tell you that if you give me 2 apples, I'll give you 2 bananas. That's a condition, right? If you give me 2 apples only, I have to give you 2 bananas. That is a condition. And evage, what kind of love is this? It is conditional love. She said that she would dance with me if I brought her red roses, cried the young student, but in all my garden there is no red rose. Red roses. Nahi hai, the young student can't find red roses. Ane pau, right? So who do you think will sacrifice herself and get the young student a red rose? In the title itself, the Nightingale is going to sacrifice herself and get the young student a red rose. Well done, Askia. My God. Okay, in the Kanni Patidum. Okay, going to move forward. The prince gives a ball tomorrow night, murmured the young student. So why is tomorrow special? Why is the next day special? The prince is giving a ball. What kind of a ball? To catch, right? Cricket ball? No. This ball is a formal dance party. Now tell me, there's another lesson in your syllabus there where there is a ball. You might remember in the Bear, right? There's a regiment quartered at Ribloff, and the officers are such beauties. Every Friday there is a ball in the Bear, a military ball, an army officer ball in the Bear, the drama. Now tell me, is the Bear a grade 10 drama or a grade 11 drama? The Bear is a grade 10 drama. If you are a grade 10 pupil, you must have learned the Bear by now. If not, don't worry. Javed will help you in the future, okay? But right now, the prince gives a ball tomorrow night, murmured. What do you mean by murmured? He spoke in a confident way, or he spoke in a broken, light voice, murmured the young student. And my love will be of the company. If I bring her a red rose, she will dance with me till dawn. If I bring her a red rose, I shall hold her in my arms, and she will lean her head upon my shoulders, and her hand will be clasped in mine. But there is no red rose in my garden, so I shall sit lonely, and she will pass me by. She will have no heed of me, and my heart will break. Basically, how can the young student dance with the professor's daughter? If he gives her what? If he gives her a red rose, only can he dance with her. Do you understand that part? Apart from that, if he gives her a red rose, what can he do? My love will be of the company. If I bring her, what's company? Company is guests, a group of guests is called company. There's a poem in your syllabus that has the word company in it. What's that poem, Nangi? It is Two's Company by Raymond Wilson, a grade 11 poem. Two's Company by, there we go, Reshma. Two's Company by Raymond Wilson, a grade 11 poem. And that is a poem under the theme of humor, right? But right now, though, company means a collection of guests. The prince gives a ball tomorrow night, murmured the young student, and my love will be of the company. If I bring her a red rose, she will dance with me till dawn. If I bring, what is dawn, by the way? Dawn means morning, right? She will dance with me till morning. Will she really dance with him till morning? It's more like a hyperbolic statement, right? And don't worry if you can't understand these techniques. The more you learn literature, the easier these techniques will become. Exactly. Exaggeration, hyperbole. Hyperbole is the real name of the technique. So it's a hyperbolic statement. She will dance with me till dawn. And if I bring her a red rose, I shall hold her in my arms and she will lean her head upon my shoulder. Now tell me, when you dance with someone, will they dance 100 meters there far away and you are dancing here, right? No, you get physically close to that person when you dance with that person, right? It is a tradition, to be honest, if you dance with a person. So the young student also wants to get physically close with this professor's daughter, right? And he says that he loves her. How can you prove that the young student loves the professor's daughter? And my love, he doesn't call her Moodevi. He doesn't call her she-dog. He calls her his love. The prince gives a ball tomorrow night, murmured the young student, and my love will be of the company. If I bring her a red rose, she will dance with me till dawn. If I bring her a red rose, I shall hold her in my arms, and she will lean her head upon my shoulder, and her hand will be clasped in mine. But there is no red rose in my garden, so I shall sit lonely, and she will pass me by. She will have no heed of me, and my heart will break. So if I don't give her the red rose, no dancing with her, right? No conditional love if I can't fulfill her condition. So you see that the professor's daughter represents what love, Nangi? Conditional love. In order to dance with the professor's daughter, the young student has to bring her a what rose? A red rose. Those of you who were there in the beginning, you guys know that there are 3 rose trees in this story. There is a red rose tree, there is a yellow rose tree, and there is a white rose tree. He must give her a red rose, no other rose, right? However, now, because the young student can't find a red rose, how can you prove that the young student can't find a red rose? But in all my garden, there is no red rose. But there is no red rose in my garden. So he admits that he does not have a red rose. So what does the nightingale do? The nightingale sacrifices her life for a red rose. Such a simple idea, right? Of course, they did say that. Of course, they did. Glad you're here, by the way, Nangi. As I was saying, though, and also Alia's bro is here, dude. Like, who knew that Alia had a brother, right? Apparently, her younger brother is here. That's crazy. Learn literature from Javed, sir, right? Gonna move forward. How about this, though? The nightingale represents sacrificial love. What do you mean by sacrificial love? It means you are sacrificing yourself for someone else. You are giving up something for someone else. I taught all 3 of you guys. That's crazy. Even your older brother is here. That's awesome, Yasin, okay? Love it. Gonna move forward. Regardless, how about this? What does the nightingale say? Tell it to me, said the nightingale. I am not afraid. Who do you think the nightingale is talking in this example? From whom can the nightingale get a red rose? You can get a red rose from a red rose tree, right? The nightingale is talking to the red rose tree in this example. Tell it to me, said the nightingale. I am not afraid. If you want a red rose, said the tree. What tree is this tree? Aralia tree. No, rose tree, because you get roses from rose trees, right? See, Javed, sir, teaching you science also. From what trees can you get roses? From rose trees. Isn't that awesome? Okay. If you want a red rose, said the tree, you must build it out of music by moonlight and stain it with your own heart's blood. My God, what should she do? She must stain it with her own heart's blood. So tell me, if you take your heart's blood out, you're dead, right? You're set the pochi. If you cut your heart and take your heart's blood out, you are set the pochi. You're dead. So the nightingale must also sacrifice her life. She must sacrifice her life for the young student. Another character in our syllabus who sacrificed her life, her weight, her feathers. What's that character? You might remember there was Sue in geniuses you guys are. There is Zia, there is Amhar, there is Azkia, there is Hikma, there is Sayeda. Well done, Nangi. Well done, Sharia, Shaira. And there's also Chaturuan. Well done, dude. It is Sue in Twilight of a Crane, not Toilet of a Crane. Twilight of a Crane, Sue sacrificed her weight to make a cloth called Senba Ori. So what kind of love is sacrificial love? It is true love, right? Conditional love is not true love. Now, tell me a person in your life who has sacrificial love for you. Allabu gedara Fatima. Isra khade ayya. Absolutely not. Your mom, exactly. Your mom has sacrificed a lot for you, right? If you know how babies are born, you know how much your mom has sacrificed for you. So sacrificial love is more true compared to conditional love. Who represents sacrificial love, baby? The nightingale. Tell it to me, said the nightingale. I am not afraid. If you want a red rose, said the tree, you must build it out of music by moonlight and stain it with your own heart's blood. You must sing to me with your breast against a thorn. All night long you must sing to me, and the thorn must pierce your heart, and your life blood must flow into my veins and become mine. So the red rose is expecting, the red rose tree expects the nightingale to pierce her heart. What do you mean by pierce? Pierce means stab with a thorn, right? Stab with a thorn. That's amazing, Chaturuan. Love it, love it. Thanks a lot for your compliments. Sadly, no, Yasin, I don't teach for grade 8 pupils, but you're welcome to stay, okay? You're welcome to learn about the nightingale and the rose. The red rose expects the nightingale to sacrifice her life, to give her life. And what? A pierce means stab, not cut through. Now, for example, girls, they pierce their ears, right? When you pierce your ears, and sometimes people have piercings all over, right? They pierce their nose, they pierce their eyebrows. Piercing means stabbing. For example, girls, they pierce their ears. Don't cut, right? You pierce means you stab. So pierce your heart, in the sense the nightingale must give her heart's blood. Her life blood must flow into the veins of the red rose. Only then can the red rose tree create a what rose? A red rose. Why does the nightingale want a red rose? You might remember the young student faced a condition, right? There was a condition imposed by the professor's daughter. What exactly was that condition? She said that she would dance with me if I brought her red roses. The nightingale is going to sacrifice her life for the the young student to get a red rose. She is going to sacrifice her life for a red rose because she wants the young student to get the red rose and give it to the professor's daughter and then dance with her. She thinks that the young student is a true lover. Absolutely. If you guys want to take a look at the YouTube channel, go ahead. There is the YouTube. Give me a second. Here is the YouTube channel's link. All right. Because that's completely fine, Nuha. To give the young student who wants to fulfill the condition of his sinajur. You're right. We can even use the word sinajur, Sayyida. It means his love interest, the center of his attention, his sinajur. Absolutely, Zia. The nightingale wants the red rose on behalf of whom? On behalf of the young student. And the young student needs the red rose to dance with the professor's daughter. He wants to get physically close to the professor's daughter and dance with her. So the only way he can do it is by giving her a red rose. What's the condition, Nangi? She said that she would dance with me if I brought her red roses. This is an example for conditional love. Where is the young student going to dance with the professor's daughter? In the road, in the bathroom? No, in the princess ball. What do you mean by the princess ball? A formal dance party. Too easy, right? How about this? So this shows that the Nightingale has to sacrifice her life for the red rose. Will she do it? Absolutely she will, because she's a true lover and she represents sacrificial love. How about this? Yet love is better than life. So what is better? Love, right? Yet love is better than life. And what is a heart of a bird compared to a heart of a man? So tell me, the Nightingale is asking what question here? What is a heart of a bird compared to a heart of a man? A question that makes you think. A question that does not need an answer. It's called a rhetorical question. Isn't that easy? Yet love is better than life. And what is a heart of a bird compared to a heart of a man? What is the effect of a rhetorical question? Kiyanna balanna mage geniuses. The effect is to make you think. Sometimes you might do something stupid and your friend might ask you, Adiye, paithiyama, right? Are you mad? Paithiyama. They make you think. They stimulate thought. Another example, if you're like arguing with someone and they're like, hey, do you know who I am, huh? Do you know who I am? Do you know who my dad is? They ask you rhetorical questions, right? They make you think. Exactly, Reshma. Rhetorical questions stimulate thought. So what does the Nightingale do here? Yet love is better than life. She's contrasting love and life. And when there is a contrasting, what is it called? What a position, baby. Well done, Hikmah. Juxtaposition. She juxtaposes love and life. And what does she say? And what is a heart of a bird compared to a heart of a man? That means her heart is useless compared to the heart of the young student. The man that she is talking about is the young student. And well done, Zahara and Sayyida and Hikmah. Juxtaposition is the technique when you are contrasting two opposite things. So I told you that the Nightingale represents sacrificial love and the professor's daughter represents conditional love. So too easy, right? How about this? Now the Nightingale has decided to sacrifice her life. Why is the Nightingale sacrificing her life? Because she wants to get a red rose from the red rose tree. Why does she want a red rose? Because she wants to give the red rose to the young student. And why does the young student want the red rose? He wants to dance with the professor's daughter at the princess ball. Hope you understand the motive behind all of these characters. When the Nightingale sees the young student, she tries to talk to him. Can the young student understand the Nightingale? What do you guys think? Of course not, right? The young student can't understand the Nightingale. Even though the Nightingale feels human emotions, she is not able to communicate with humans. Be happy, cried the Nightingale. Be happy. You shall have your red rose. I will build it out of music by moonlight and stain it with my own heart's blood. She's going to put her heart's blood on the red rose. How is she going to do it? By living for 100 years? No, by sacrificing herself, by almost committing suicide. She doesn't really commit suicide. She sacrifices her life and thus she dies. There's another character in our syllabus who committed suicide, Nangi. In the grade 11 syllabus, there is a character who committed suicide. That is Richard Cory by Edwin Arlington Robinson. So on we worked and waited for the light and went without the meat and cursed the bread. And Richard Cory, one calm summer night, went home and put a bullet through his head. A poem under the theme of society. Too easy, okay? We'll talk about Richard Cory in the future. Right now, though, we're talking about the Nightingale and the rose. That's, yeah, absolutely, Nangi. And again, here is the link of the meeting, okay? So if you are not able to join through the Zoom chat, if you're not able to join through Zoom because of the meeting is full, you guys can watch the recordings through YouTube, and this is being streamed live on YouTube, okay? You guys can watch it through YouTube now itself. Immediately, you guys can go and watch through YouTube if you were to leave the meeting. So So we have the Nightingale sacrificial love. The Nightingale is not committing suicide, but it's like she is committing suicide. She is giving up her life because she wants a red rose, and she wants the red rose to be given to the young student. And this young student wants the red rose to dance with his cynosure in the princess ball. What's the extract? Be happy, cried the nightingale. Be happy. You shall have your red rose. I will build it out of music by moonlight and stain it with my own heart's blood. All that I ask of you in return is that you will be a true lover. So what do you guys think? Will this young student really be a true lover? Of course not. The young student in the ending of the Nightingale, spoiler, will not be a true lover. That is kind of hypocritical. We talked about a theme called hypocrisy. What's going on, Lahira? Glad you're here, Nangi. We talked about a theme called hypocrisy, right? It means humans going against their own philosophies, going against their own promises. The young student is a hypocrite, is a hypocrite. How can you prove that? Because in the ending, the young student doesn't want the rose. The young student easily rejects the professor's daughter. We'll talk about that in the ending, okay? So there are different attitudes towards love. What do you mean by attitude? Now, this is a word that we find a lot in our syllabus. For example, in poetry, they might ask you, what is the attitude of the poet? What is the tone of the poet? Attitude means emotion. Emotion that you show, attitude. Now, sometimes when you're angry, you show your emotion without using words, right? Like you're like, if girls are angry, they're like, kata karanne. That is like they are showing their attitude, right? And sometimes your teacher might tell you, hey, keep your attitude at home, okay? Keep that attitude at home. What do you mean by attitude? The emotion that you reflect. Well done. Well done, Zahra. The emotion that you reflect is called attitude. So the attitude towards love varies from character to character in the Nightingale and the Rose. The Nightingale has a positive attitude towards love, while the young student in the ending of the prose has a negative attitude towards love. We'll talk about that, okay? So in this paragraph, when the nightingale says, by the way, what is a nightingale? Attitude is not always a bad thing. It can be a positive thing also, okay? It can be a positive thing also. Basically, you can show your positive attitudes or your negative attitudes. So for example, the nightingale's attitude is positive. Surely love is a wonderful thing. It is more precious than emeralds and dearer than fine opals. What are emeralds? Emeralds are kind of diamonds, right? They're kind of expensive diamonds. Opals are gems, colorful gems. Emeralds and opals are diamonds and gems. Surely love is a wonderful thing. It is more precious than emeralds and dearer than fine opals. Opals and emeralds are basically rocks, okay? Are minerals, valuable minerals, diamonds and colorful gems. Pearls and pomegranates cannot buy it, nor is it set forth in the marketplace. It may not be purchased of the merchants, nor can it be weighed out in the balance for gold. Now tell me the words that you find in a marketplace, words that you find in a Maria Kade, in a bazaar, words like buy, words like marketplace, words like purchased, words like merchants, words like weighed, words like balance. What's a balance? What do you call balance in Sinhala? Taradi, right? In Tamil also they say taradi, balance. The balance is a kind of a scale. So what does the nightingale tell you here? Can you buy love or can't you buy true love? You cannot buy true love. If you want, you can buy anything nowadays, but you can't buy true love, right? Absolutely. Market vibes, right? These words, for example, buy, marketplace, purchased, merchants, weighed, and balance are words that talk about buying. However, the nightingale says that you can't buy love. What's going on, Arunya? Glad you're here, Nangi. The nightingale says that you can't buy real love. You can't buy true love. In the previous slide, we talked about the nightingale's what love, Nangi? Sacrificial love, for example. Yet love is better than life. And what is a heart of a bird compared to a heart of a man? You can memorize the extract right now, Ned. Yet love is better than life. And what is a heart of a bird compared to a heart of a man? You can memorize one extract at least, and that will help you a lot in the exam, okay? You can prove the Nightingale's sacrificial love by memorizing this extract here. Yet love is better than life. And what is a heart of a bird compared to a heart of a man? And what is conditional love? An example for conditional love. She said that she would dance with me if I brought her red roses. But in all, cried the young student, but in all my garden there is no red rose. However, the Nightingale has a positive attitude towards love. What does she say? Surely love is a wonderful thing. It is more precious than emeralds and dearer than fine opals. Pearls and pomegranates cannot buy it, nor is it set forth in the marketplace. It may not be purchased of the merchants, nor can it be weighed out in the balance for gold. What else does the Nightingale say? Love is wiser than philosophy. She's talking about personified love. In the Nightingale and the Rose, the characters are anthropomorphic, but the Nightingale has been, love has been personified. So remember, anthropomorphic means they really have human qualities. Personified means we are imagining that the human qualities are there. Love is not a character. Love is only personified. You can only personify, you can only use anthropomorphism with characters, okay? Tell me another lesson where we can use anthropomorphism with. You might remember The Skull in the Huntsman by Edward Lowbury. That's a good example for an anthropomorphic character. The skull really talked. It was an anthropomorphic skull. So here is personification. Love is personified. Remember, the Nightingale has a positive attitude towards love. And what does she say? Love is wiser than philosophy, though she is wise, and mightier than power, though he is mighty. Flame-colored are his wings. So who are he here? Love is wiser than philosophy, though she is wise. Who is she? She is philosophy. And wise and mightier than power. So who is he? He is power, right? And mightier than power, though he is mighty. Flamed colored are his wings, and colored like flame is his body. His lips are sweet as honey, and his breath is like frankincense. What do you mean by frankincense? A very fragrant kind of a paste. A fragrant kind of a paste is frankincense, made of trees, made of plant materials. Kind of like, you guys might know incense sticks. So kind of like incense sticks, kind of like agarbatti, right? So frankincense is a fragrant kind of a substance. So basically, the Nightingale has a positive attitude towards love, right? What else can you talk about regarding the Nightingale's attitude towards love? We talked about this extract in the previous slide. What is it about? Yet love is better than life. And what is a heart of a bird compared to a heart of a man? So she thinks that love is more valuable than life, right? Yet love is better than life. So the Nightingale has a positive attitude towards love. You guys must memorize these extracts. Only then can you guys write an analysis for the Nightingale and the Rose in the exam. How about this? The young student in the ending of the prose has a negative attitude towards love. Hope you understand that, okay? And you're right, the huntsman, right? Kagwa in the huntsman, you're right, Arunya, and then Askia. And you're right, Sayeda, they are the anthropomorphic, the what do you call, the skull in the huntsman is the anthropomorphic character. Of course, you're right. And then we have a kind of a personification here, right, Askia? There is a personification of love here. Love is wiser than philosophy, though philosophy is wise, and mightier than power, though he is power, he is mighty. Flamed colored are his wings, and colored like flame is his body. This is a simile, right? So love's wings are flame colored, and colored like flame is his body. His lips are sweet as honey, and his breath is like frankincense. So easy. You guys must be able to memorize these extracts. One more time. Love is wiser than philosophy, though she is wise, and mightier than power, though he is mighty. Flamed colored are his wings, and colored like flame is his body. His lips are sweet as honey, and his breath is like frankincense. Too easy, right? So what do you mean by frankincense? Frankincense is a fragrant kind of a substance. So basically, the Nightingale has a positive attitude towards love. You guys must be able to memorize these extracts now itself, okay? If you can't memorize these extracts, at least memorize the short one. Yet love is better than life, and what is a heart of a bird compared to a heart of a man? But the young student thinks negatively about love. Can you believe that? The young student has a negative attitude towards love. What a silly thing love is, said the student as he walked away. It is not half as useful as logic, for it does not prove anything. And it is always telling one of things that are not going to happen. What does he say? He says that love is not half as useful as logic. Love is useless, according to the young student. Love is not half as useful as logic. What a silly thing love is. In the ending of The Nightingale and the Rose, boot එක කෑවට පස්සේ, who gives the young student the boot? The professor's daughter. Even though he gives her the red rose, in the ending she says that she doesn't want red roses. She wants jewels from the Chamberlain's nephew. So she's a hypocrite, right? You're right, Arunya. She is a hypocrite. Because imagine if someone asks for ice cream. I'm like, hey, bring me ice cream. I start crying. I want ice cream. I love ice cream. And then when you give me the ice cream, I throw the ice cream away and I say, I don't like ice cream. I'm a hypocrite, right? Because I was the person who asked for ice cream and then I threw away the ice cream saying that I don't want it. Hope you understand how this works. If you think about the young student, no, the professor's daughter, she asks for the red rose and then she rejects the red rose in the very end. Flame-colored. Oh, no, it's not about the Roman god. I think you're talking about Cupid, right? Oh, this is not exactly Cupid. I mean, again, Cupid is the manifestation of love. You're right. Cupid is the manifestation of love. But you can Kellingpara say, she's not wrong, by the way. You can say that it is Cupid. But it is actually personified love. Cupid is the manifestation of love. What do you mean by manifestation? When something doesn't have a body and you give it a body, it's called a manifestation. For example, nature doesn't have a body, right? But into the evening star, I give nature a body by manifesting it into the alluded Roman goddess Venus. Here, love doesn't have a body, so we have given a body to love, and we can say that Cupid is the embodiment, manifestation of love. But to be honest, this is more like personified love. Love is wiser than philosophy, though she is wise. She is personified philosophy. Mightier than power, though he is mighty. He is personified power. Flamed colored are his wings, and colored like flame is his body. We're talking about the personified love. His lips are sweet as honey, and his breath is like frankincense. What's going on, Nisra? Glad you're here, Nangi. Glad to see you after a long time. But, sir, the boy is also very careless. You're right, Shahid. He is also ungrateful, right? In the ending, after eating the boot, what does he criticizes love. So tell me, if you talk about, let's say, the young student in The Nightingale and the Rose, he doesn't understand love properly, right? Even though the Nightingale had a positive attitude towards love, the young student in the end has a negative attitude towards love. One more time, is the Nightingale sacrifice valuable? No, right? In the ending, after the red rose was rejected, and because the young student criticizes love, and he throws away the red rose, okay? In the ending of the prose, the young student throws away the red rose. That is a good example that proves that the Nightingale sacrifice was useful or useless. In the end, the Nightingale sacrifice is useless, right? Hope you understand that. Another example, let's say that you don't learn anything in this seminar, which I doubt. You guys are learning, of course. But let's say after you join the 2 hours in the seminar and you don't learn a single thing, that means my sacrifice is useless. Hope you understand that, okay? So in the ending, you're right, Amra, and you're right, Sayyada. Another word that we can use for useless is futile. The Nightingale sacrifice is made futile. And you're right, Arunya. Theoretical education creates an unbalanced individual. That's a good example for the young student's character. Theoretical education. Mere theoretical education creates an unbalanced individual. In the ending, the young student has a negative attitude towards love. Hope you understand that, okay? Hope that makes sense. You guys are right, right, Amra? It is useless. The Nightingale sacrifice is useless. What a silly thing love is, said the student as he walked away. It is not as half as useful as logic, for it does not prove anything, and it is always telling one of things that are not going to happen and making one believe in things that are not true. In fact, it is quite unpractical, and as in this age, to be practical is everything, I shall go back to philosophy and study metaphysics. Remember, metaphysics is an advanced branch of philosophy, a very advanced kind of philosophy, metaphysics. So in the ending, the young student thinks that love is a silly thing. He has a negative attitude towards love, sad, which means that the Nightingale's sacrifice is rendered futile. Absolutely. Then saying greedy, Amna, you can say that the professor's daughter is a materialistic person. What do you mean by materialistic? She wants many things. She wants roses. She wants jewels. She wants silk. She's a very materialistic person. What's the opposite of materialistic? It is minimalist. Who is the minimalist in our syllabus? There is one character who is a minimalist, Nangi. Who is that? The Jagan in the vendor of sweets is a minimalist, right? Jagan is a minimalist in the vendor of sweets. Hope you understand that. He doesn't want many things. He never possesses more than 2 sets of clothes at any one time. I also have a brilliant presentation for the vendor of sweets. If you guys take a look right here, in chapter number 1, we find that Jagan is a minimalist. If you take a look at this boom, we have a presentation for the vendor of sweets here. If you are not doing the vendor of sweets, don't worry, because Javed sir teaches all 3 novels. If you take a look under this extract here, he never possessed more than 2 sets of clothes at any one time. You can prove that Jagan is a minimalist. Does Jagan own a lot of things, or does he own a minimal amount of things? He owns a minimal number of things, right? You're right. Why not, Zaid? You can even call the professor's daughter a what digger? A gold digger, but that is an informal word, so you can't use that in the exam, okay? In the exam, you call her a materialistic person. You're right. Near 60-year-old widower and vendor of sweets. Love it, absolutely. So here are some notes from the guide, okay? All of the notes, all of the ideas that I have told you are taken from the teacher's guide. Why do we take ideas from the teacher's guide? We take ideas from the teacher's guide to get marks in the exam. If there is an idea in the teacher's guide, most probably it's going to be in your marking scheme. And if it is in the marking scheme, it must be in your exam paper. How do you get these tutorials? How do you get these tutorials for the Nightingale and the Rose, for the Lahore attack, for the vendor of sweets? How do you get them free? You drop Javed's message through WhatsApp. I will share all of the tutorials with you for free, okay? These are a lot of notes, a lot of presentations for the lessons in English Lit. How many poems are in your syllabus? There are 20 poems in your syllabus. How many short stories are in your syllabus? There are 4 short stories in your syllabus. How many dramas do you have in your syllabus? You've got 2 dramas in your syllabus. And finally, you have 3 novels in your syllabus. Out of the 3 novels, you must learn only 1. But I am the only teacher in Sri Lanka, I promise you, by the way, not boasting. I'm the only literature teacher in Sri Lanka who teaches all 3 novels properly, okay? I teach all of them properly. The 13 chapters in the vendor of sweets, 33 chapters in the Prince and the Pauper, and the 3 chapters in bringing Tony home. I teach all 3 of them. And if you want to support your Javed sir, if you want to join our classes, doing such a thing, can he face the professor without? That is out of the question, right, Shahid? Now, here's a question from Shahid. Sir, screenshot this, okay? Drop us a message through WhatsApp and get your free tutorials. If you want to really support us, you can join our classes through Isaac.com. There's a brilliant website called Isaac.com, and you guys can join our website to join our online classes. We have a lot of subjects like science and English language and ICT and maths in Isaac.com. You can join these classes through Isaac.com. Let me show you how to join, by the way, okay? The first thing is you have to have a laptop or a phone or a device to connect to the internet. and then check if you have Wi-Fi. If you don't have Wi-Fi, you can't join, of course. I'm kidding. Log in. Apologies. Before that, you have to create an account. You have to click on join. You have to fill in your details. So simple, okay? You fill in your details, your full name, your DOB, right? You fill in your details, and then you register. And once you register, you type in your password and your email. You have to register using an email, and that is the email that you type here. So I'll log in as a student. One moment. Boom. And then if I were to log in, the password is monkey, of course. There we go. Give me a second. Forgot the Y. If I log in as a student, now you guys see that there is kind of a notice board here that shows you all sorts of seminars that we have. For example, even tomorrow we have a free science seminar. You can join through isaac.com, or you can join through WhatsApp. If you drop us a message, we have a science seminar tomorrow, and it's going to be an amazing session. So join tomorrow also, tomorrow from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Same time, same place. However, if you want to join Javed Sir's classes, go to the left console here, okay? And I'll tell you why Isaac.com is so awesome. I'll tell you why you need Isaac.com for online education, because we really care about online education, okay? There's no hybrid classes. These are 100% purely organically online classes. That means when I teach, do I focus on the physical pupils here? Or do I only focus on the online pupils? We only focus on the online pupils. We don't believe in hybrid classes, because in hybrid classes, the teacher or the educator focuses more on the physical pupils, right? So we care more about the online pupils, and that's why we're doing this online in Isaac.com. So if you go to the left console and click under all classes, live classes, you are going to find the classes that we do in Isaac.com. We have Islam, we have mathematics, we have English literature, and there's a VIP package for English Lit, because we conduct English Lit on many days of the week. For example, there is a class on Saturday. There is a fast track class on Monday. There are novel classes on Sunday. All 3 novels, by the way, are taught. Apart from that, there is a class of papers, and that is on Thursday. So you have the entire package regarding literature. And if you want to join Javed Sir's classes, you've got to join through Isaac.com. Very basic, right? And why do you need Isaac.com? I'll tell you why, Nangi. We have a lot of features, but I'll tell you, guys, I'll talk about the recordings features in Isaac.com, okay? Give me a second. Let me log in as a student again. We have a deluxe account here. The password again is monkey. If I were to log in as a student, a VIP student, I can watch the recordings of past classes. Now, for example, if I were to go under this calendar feature, let's say once you join the class, once you pay through Isaac.com and you join the class, and you miss a class, you can watch the recordings of that class through Isaac.com under the calendar. Now, if you ask me what I taught last week, you can go back in the calendar and you can take a look at what we taught on Monday. Monday last week, that means the 17th, we taught the bear reading session, okay? You can also get the tutorials, the e-notes through the tile by clicking on e-notes. Here's the e-note, by the way, boom. We have a note for the bear, very basic. And apart from that, you guys can even watch the recordings through Isaac.com. The recordings will never expire, and they can be watched unlimitedly. You can watch them many times and they will never expire. You can watch them until your exam. Even one day before your exam, you can watch the recordings. So we have the recordings inbuilt into Isaac.com. There's a wallet feature. There are so many features, by the way, in the website. But my favorite feature is the calendar feature, which lets you watch recordings that you are not able to attend, the recordings that you have paid for. Apart from that, there are many other features. For example, there's a bookmark feature. And if you want to join the classes, let's say you go under all classes and live classes, okay? If you go under all classes and live classes, like I told you guys, and let's say you want to join the VIP slot for grade 11, there is a grade 11 VIP slot for literature that helps you join all of the classes. You click on pay now, and the payment is also so easy. You can basically pay for next month by proceed to August payments, and then you guys can deposit and transfer. You can deposit your money and upload the slip, or you can pay online, right? Give me a second. You can pay online using your bank cards. It is such a wholesome website. We have a proper LMS system. That means learning management system. And this makes online a lot more easier. And you guys can tell by the technology that we have in the class, right? Now, for example, we use presentations. We have like really powerful microphones, which makes listening to us also a lot more easier. We've got like proper lighting here in the class, right? The lighting is like, we think of everything. Like if I were to turn off these lights, you guys won't even see me clearly. There are that many studio lights here. So we care about online learning a lot. And that's why we have Isaac.com. If you can join, if you want to join through Isaac.com. Boom. If you want to learn how to join through Isaac.com, you guys can drop me a message through WhatsApp. Here we go. Here's Javid sir's WhatsApp number. Apart from that, let's say that you can't afford to join. Let's say that you might have some financial problems. We'll still help you. Drop us a message through WhatsApp and we'll help you with the tutorials. We'll help you with the notes. We will do whatever we can to help you guys get an A, a sweet, sweet A for your exam. I'm talking about English Lit. And apart from that, we have other subjects in Isaac.com also. Saying that, let's jump right into our session. And what's going on, Hafsa? Glad you're here. We'll make you full, sir, right? You're right, Arunya. Novels on Sundays, and there's ICT. There is also the Thursday paper class. You're right. Thanks a lot, by the way, Ayaz. I could have not made Isaac.com this good without your support, okay? Now, people ask me, how is Isaac.com so advanced? And sadly, no, Nisra, we don't have a science stream in A-levels. We have art stream, though. I teach art stream. We don't have science stream, Nisra, okay? So you're doing science. That's amazing. Very proud of you, Nangi, okay? And you're right. Recordings are also available. I also teach physical classes. If you want to ask about physical classes, drop me a message. But in Isaac.com, we focus on online. So it's either online or physical. You know, don't join both of them. Join one of the two. I promise you're going to get a really good experience out of everything. And there's one more thing I want to show you guys, and that is the tutorials. We send you guys, if you join the physical class, or if you join the online classes as a VIP, we'll send you tutorials. And these right here are the colored tutorials that we have prepared for our pupils. This month, I sent my pupils the tutorial for To the Evening Star. It's not like Uding Rinso Yating or Uding Show Yating Rinso, not like that, okay? It's a really valuable tutorial. Even the inside of the tutorial is in colored. It's a very expensive tutorial. And if you guys want these tutorials, you can join as a VIP in Isaac.com. My pupils who join the VIP online have received these tutorials through Isaac.com. So saying that, let's jump right in back to our lesson. We're talking about The Nightingale and the Rose, one of the 4 short stories in your syllabus. Don't worry, Noof. I think because you live so far away, you get the tutorials, okay? If you have not gotten the tutorials yet, you will get them, okay? We're talking about The Nightingale and the Rose. Absolutely, absolutely, Ayaz. I mean, come on, right? I do send tutorials. You've at least got a few of my tutorials, right? It is one of the 4 short stories in your syllabus. It is a short fictional prose, isn't it? And apart from that, oh, all right. Okay. I understand, Nisra. We are looking for teachers, though. We haven't yet found a good science stream teacher, sadly. We have an O-level science teacher. We don't have like bio or chemistry teachers. If you know some, send them to us, okay? All right. Okay. Regardless, when we talk about The Nightingale and the Rose, my sister used to be sad that she didn't get them. Oh, that's sad. That's sad. Okay. All right. But this time, everyone is going to get them. Okay. All my pupils will get their tutorials this time. Why not say that? Even you can teach A-level science, right? I believe in you. Okay. So here's the deal. We talked about the anthropomorphic nightingale. We talked about conditional love, right? How do you prove the conditional love in The Nightingale and the Rose? It is the extract. She said that she would dance with me if I brought her red roses. So who is she? She is the professor's daughter. And me, the speaker here, is the young student. Of course, you can get The Nightingale and the Rose notes. Okay, Zahra, drop me a message through WhatsApp, please, Nangi. Drop me a message through WhatsApp. I'll share them with you. Okay, so here's our WhatsApp details, screenshot this. And even in the end of the class, I'll share this again so you guys can reach out to Javed, sir. But right now, it's 7796399434. Right now, we're talking about conditional love. What do you mean by conditional love? Real love or poi love? Poi love, right? That means the young student does not really experience love from the professor's daughter. She is trying to be manipulative, and she is expecting something in return for her love. And you know that you should never expect something in return of your love, right? That is why your love is pure. So if you expect something in return of your love, that means it is conditional love. It is not real love. Who is she? She is the professor's daughter. And apart from that, absolutely, Hikmah. The VIPs are also available for the tutorials are also available for the junior VIP. Good question, by the way, okay? So basically, literature VIP pupils will definitely get their tutorials. Saying that, we're going to move forward. We're talking about how she said that she would dance with me if I brought her red roses. Cried the young student, but in all my garden, there is no red rose. The prince gives a ball tomorrow night, murmured the young student. He's talking about the conditional love. And my love will be of the company. If I bring her a red rose, she will dance with me till dawn. If I bring her a red rose, I shall hold her in my arms, and she will lean her head upon my shoulder, and her hand will be clasped in mine. But there is no red rose in my garden, so I shall sit lonely, and she will pass me by. She will have no heed of me, and my heart will break. So basically, if the young student does not fulfill the condition, will he get hanky? I mean, will he get to dance with his lover? Absolutely not. No hanky-panky if he doesn't fulfill the condition. Regardless, the young student is merely educated. The only thing that he has is education. And now tell me, oh, heed. Heed means she will not care about me. She will not notice me. Heed. Heed means notice me. She will have no heed of me. She won't notice me. She will have no heed of me. And my heart will break. All right. Do we get access to? Absolutely. You get to access to grade 10 and grade 11 classes if you join the VIP. And you get the access to the recordings and the tutorials, the e-notes, and the recordings will never expire. Hopefully you guys know what heed is. And what's going on, Abdullah? Glad you're here, dude. As I was saying, the young student is overly educated. He is merely educated. He is not practical at all. And tell me, what kind of people are overly educated people? They overly estimate themselves, right? They have high regards of their self. And how does the young student behave here? On what little things does happiness depend? I have read all that the wise men have written, and all the secrets of philosophy are mine, yet for want of a red rose is my life made wretched. What does he say? I have read all that the wise men have written. That's hyperbole. Well done, Arunya. That is hyperbole. And yes, Yash, the printed tutorials are only free for the VIP pupils, okay? The printed tutorials. And you're right, Fatima, Shazna. The young student is highly unpractical. And yes, we do have, Tavindu, we have the English literature classes for A-levels, okay? In isaac.com, you can drop me a message through WhatsApp. But yes, we have English lit classes for A-levels. In the A-level syllabus, there are 24 poems, there are 6 short stories, there are 5 dramas and 5 novels. Out of the 5 dramas, you must choose 2 of them. And out of the 5 novels, you've got to choose 2 of them. And yes, Javed sir teaches all of the dramas and novels. We'll talk about that in the future. But right now, the young student has high regards about himself. I have read all that the wise men have written. Impossible. That is hyperbole. And all the secrets of philosophy are mine. And can I say that all the secrets of education, all the secrets of literature are mine? No, right? It's impossible. A human, a single person, can't cannot learn everything, right? Cannot learn everything about something. So he's exaggerating. This proves his mere theoretical education. Anepau. Yet, for want of a red rose is my life made wretched. Why does the young student want a red rose? He wants it to dance with the professor's daughter. She said that she would dance with me if I brought her red roses, right? So easy. Oh, no, you can't get the tutorials without joining the VIP because the tutorials are very expensive and they are in colored. It cost me roughly $250 to print the tutorials. So we are only giving the tutorials to the pupils who join the VIP slot. So if you guys can support Isaac.com and join the VIP slot, that will be amazing. We can keep pumping out free tutorials, keep pumping out free seminars once a month. And of course, we can keep doing an amazing job with online teaching. I'm very confident that Isaac.com is the only online platform in Sri Lanka that properly teaches, okay? There are other websites that teach us hybrid, but in Isaac.com, we exclusively focus on online, okay? I'm going to move forward. You got some tutorials, right, Arunya? You have some of my tutorials, right? Science will be available from tomorrow, Shahid. We have a science teacher also, and join our science seminar tomorrow. There's a science seminar tomorrow from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., okay? Will you be sending the presentations? Absolutely, I will, Lily. Is you all right? Absolutely, I will send all of the presentations, okay? For all of the poems, all of the short stories, all of the both of the dramas and all 3 novels. And not only that, we are also upgrading the tutorials every single month. So if you have our tutorial link, if you have our Google Drive link, you get an updated version of our lessons and our PDFs every single month, okay? Without even joining the class, you can get those for free. So yeah, absolutely, Sayyeda. It's going to be the first lesson for science tomorrow. So join our seminar tomorrow. But right now, we're focusing on the Nightingale's positive attitude towards love. How can you prove that the Nightingale has a positive attitude towards love? Here's the extract. What does she say? Surely love is a wonderful thing. It is more precious than emeralds and dearer than fine opals, pearls and pomegranates. But what do you mean by pomegranates? They are a kind of a fruit. So at one point, pomegranates were expensive, right? So nowadays we have expensive delicacies like truffles, like oysters, like even durian is kind of expensive if you think about it. So like that, back in the day, pomegranates were expensive. So the Nightingale basically has a positive attitude towards love, right? Surely, love is a wonderful thing. It is more precious than emeralds. Of the merchants, nor can it be weighed out in the balance for gold. You can't buy love. As per the Nightingale's ideas, you cannot buy real love. How about this? When the Nightingale sees this young student, she thinks that he is a true lover. But there is one small mistake that the Nightingale makes. What's the mistake? Does she judge him internally, or does she judge his superficial attributes? What do you guys think? She judges his outer attributes. You're right, Sayeda. There is a misconception of love. We'll talk about that, okay? So why does the Nightingale want to sacrifice her life for a red rose? Because she thinks that the young student is a true lover. Here at last is a... Here at last is a true lover, said the Nightingale. Night after night have I sung of him, though I knew him not. Night after night have I told his story to the stars. And now I see him. His hair is dark as the hyacinth blossom. What's a hyacinth blossom? It's a kind of a flower. Here you go. There is even an image of the hyacinth blossom here on the right side. His hair is dark as the... What color is the hyacinth blossom? A dark purple color, right? So his hair is dark as the hyacinth blossom, and his lips are red as the rose of his desire. But passion has made his face like pale ivory, and sorrow has set her seal upon his brow. Again, passion and sorrow have been personified, right? Sorrow has set her seal. If you're giving a pronoun to the word sorrow, that is personification. But tell me, is the nightingale judging the inner values of the young student or the outer appearance? Sad story. The nightingale is judging the young student's outer appearance. So is that a correct way of judging someone? Absolutely not, right? Now in the court, do they look at evidence or do they look at the outer appearance of the convict? They look at the evidence, right? They judge the person internally. They don't judge the outer appearance of the person. So the nightingale has made a huge mistake. By judging the outer appearance of the young student, she has called him a what lover? She calls him a true lover. Varadi neda. Well done, Askia. Even in Richard Corey, the people on the pavement judge Richard Corey's outer appearance. What does the nightingale say here? Here at last is a true lover, said the nightingale. Night after night have I sung of him, though I knew him not. Night after night have I told his story to the stars, and now I see him. His hair is dark as the hyacinth blossom, and his lips are red as the rose of his desire. But passion has made his face like pale ivory. There's a simile there, right? What's ivory? Ivory is the bone color, like bones, like the elephant tusk, like bones. Passion has made his face like pale ivory, and sorrow has set her seal upon his brow. Allah Pabam. What are these minor characters talking about? Now, all of these minor characters are anthropomorphic, right? They are really behaving like humans. What does the green lizard ask here? Why is he weeping? Asked the green lizard as he ran past him with his tail in the air. Why indeed, said a butterfly who was fluttering about after a sunbeam. Why indeed, whispered a daisy to his neighbor in a soft, low voice. Are these important characters? The little green lizard, the butterfly, the daisy? No, absolutely not important. These are not main characters, but they are all anthropomorphic. You're right. The green lizard is a cynic, right? Cynic, right here. We'll talk about his cynicism. He is weeping for a red rose, said the nightingale. For a red rose, they cried. How very ridiculous. And the little lizard, who was something of a cynic, laughed outright. What do you mean by cynic? Someone who thinks that all people are bad. Now, in the poems under the theme of humor, cynicism is very important. It means you think that all humans have some kind of a mistake, some kind of a flaw. All humans are deceptive, are defective. You're right, Arunya. Now, for example, in the Camel's Hump, you guys might remember the poem, right? Grade 11 poem under the theme of humor. The Camel's Hump is a ugly lump, which, well, you may see at the zoo. But uglier yet is the hump we get from having too little to do, right? Laziness is a negative human quality. So the Camel's Hump also has a bit of cynicism inside of it. Who is the cynic here? A person who believes that all humans are full of vice, all humans have mistakes, make mistakes, the green lizard, and he laughs outright. So why does the young student want a red rose? Because he wants to dance with the professor's daughter. So easy, right? The young student, you're right, Askia, the lizard, the little green lizard is the cynic, but then the young student wants the red rose to dance with the professor's daughter. Now, tell me, how many rose trees are there? 3 rose trees, right? In the beginning, there is a red rose tree, white rose tree that grows in the middle of the grass plot. Will that white rose tree give the nightingale a red rose? No. Then there is the yellow rose tree who grows round the sundial. Will the yellow rose tree give the nightingale a rose? Nahi hai. Finally, the nightingale goes to the red rose tree, and the red rose tree will give the nightingale a rose for free. Or must the nightingale sacrifice herself? She must sacrifice herself. Tell it to me, said the nightingale. I am not afraid. If you want a red rose, said the tree, you must build it out of music by moonlight and stain it with your own heart's blood. You must sing to me with your breast against the thorn. All night long you must sing to me, and the thorn must pierce your heart, and your life blood must flow into my veins and become mine. Basically, the red rose tree wants the nightingale to sacrifice her life. But what does the nightingale say? Death is a great price to pay for a red rose, cried the nightingale. And life is very dear to all. So what does the nightingale say? Death. Who is going to die in the nightingale and the rose? The nightingale, right? Death is a great price to pay for a red rose, cried the nightingale. And life is very dear to all. It is pleasant to sit in the green wood and watch the sun in his chariot of gold and the moon in her chariot of pearl. A chariot is like a cart, and this is more like a personification, okay? It is pleasant to sit in the green wood. What do you mean by the green wood? It means the forest. And you're right, Amra. The nightingale is going to sacrifice herself. Agreed, Nangi. Well done. And then you're right, Hamna. The nightingale is going to sacrifice herself. And Amhar says the red rose tree is also, oh no, the red rose tree doesn't love anyone. The red rose tree has a condition, but not conditional love. The professor's daughter has conditional love, but the red rose tree has a condition. What does he say? Not conditional love, but there's a condition. If you want a red rose, said the tree, you must build it out of music by moonlight and stain it with your own heart's blood. Death is a great price to pay for a red rose, cried the nightingale, and life is very dear to all. It is pleasant to sit in the green wood and watch the sun in his chariot of gold and the moon in her chariot of pearl. Sweet is the scent of the hawthorn. Hawthorn is a kind of a flower, right? And sweet are the bluebells that hide in the valley and the heather that blows on the hills. Remember, hawthorn, bluebells, and heather are all flowers, okay? So the nightingale talks about how life is so sweet. So will it be easy for the nightingale to sacrifice her life? Or is it going to be difficult for her to sacrifice her life? Of course, it is going to be difficult for her to sacrifice her life. And you're right, Aisha. The red rose tree is very selfish, but you can't blame the red rose tree, right? You must blame the professor's daughter. She was the real selfish person. You're right, Abdullah, because the red rose tree was not able to produce a red rose. That's why the red rose tree wanted the nightingale's blood to make the rose red color. Hope you understand that, okay? So as I was saying, the nightingale loves life, she values life, but still she will sacrifice her life. What is the extract? Ani, memorize this part right now, Nangi. Yet love is better than life. And what is a heart of a bird compared to a heart of a man? Well done, Arunya. Juxtaposition is there. And apart from that, you know that the young student's love is more valuable to the nightingale than her own life. Yet love is better than life. And what is a heart of a bird compared to a heart of a man? Nangi, that is a juxtaposition. And there's another technique here. What do you call this? What question, baby? A rhetorical question. The nightingale goes to the young student and talks with him, but he can't understand her. Be happy, cried the nightingale. Be happy. You shall have your red rose. I will build it out of music by moonlight and stain it with my own heart's blood. All that I ask of you in return is that you will be a true lover. So in the end, will the young student, and well done, Lily, it is a rhetorical question. Hamna, you're right. What is a heart of a bird compared to a heart of a man is a good example for a rhetorical question. So the nightingale believes that the young student will be a true lover. But will he be a true lover? No, Oka Loka Andea. He will not be a true lover. He will betray his love. In the very ending, we'll talk about that. It brings out the common human weaknesses in society. True. Only the nightingale and the oak tree have real insight. Actually, no. Do you understand, Tavindu, that even the nightingale made a mistake? The nightingale thought that the young student will be a true lover by measuring his outer appearance. That's wrong, right, Tavindu? Because if you think about it, here at last is a true lover, said the nightingale, night after night. So the nightingale, Tavindu, thinks that the young student is a true lover. But is he really a true lover? Night after night have I sung of him, though I knew him not. Night after night have I told his story to the stars. And now I see him. His hair is dark as the hyacinth blossom, and his lips are red as the rose of his desire. So he's looking at the outer appearance. Hasn't the nightingale also made a mistake? To be honest, all of the characters in The Nightingale and the Rose have made mistakes. You have to be really careful when you judge these characters, okay? Absolutely. You have to memorize the extracts, but the minor character part isn't important, right, Maimuna? The minor character part isn't that important, right, Maimuna? So yeah, Moonlight, your name reminds me of the moonlight in The Nightingale and the Rose. Kidding, gonna move forward. And you're right, basically, the Nightingale, even though she has sacrificial love, her idea of the young student is wrong, okay? You're right, the Nightingale was quick to judge. You're right, Zia. But then, yes, true love, yes, you're right, Tavindu. The Nightingale understands true love and sacrificial love. She made a small mistake by thinking that the young student has true love. So she has thought that she has misunderstood the young student. That's the mistake that she made. But you're right, the Nightingale and the home oak tree have a good understanding of real love. You're right. In the end, Zia, you can't judge things by their outer appearances. And you're right, Arunya. In The Nightingale and the Rose, there are conceptions and misconceptions of love. What kind of a lover am I? I'm a lonely kind of a lover, sadly, Hamdan. I'm working all the time, right? Now, those of you who join my physical classes know I have physical classes in the afternoon. Afterwards, I'm focusing on teaching literature in the evenings. I'm in love with literature, actually. I only teach literature and I only work with my subjects, not just literature. I also teach maths, by the way. But then I only focus on my work, so I have no time to fall in love, sadly. Sad story, right? The man of literature is not in love. Gonna move forward. But regardless, I'm a Devadas, exactly. I grew a beard and I'm like a Devadas. Got my heart broken and everything. But I still value what we are doing here because we are working on your future, right? This right here is more valuable than anything else. In the end, your 9 A's and the A's that you get for maths and literature will be more valuable to me than anything else. Like Anton Chekhov, exactly. Agreed. You're right, Zia. Why not? Thanks a lot, by the way, Hamna, okay? Such an honor to be called your teacher. And I could have not gotten this far without your support, without your participation, because what is a teacher without his pupils, right? What is a heart of a bird compared to a heart of a man? Asks the Nightingale. What is a teacher without his pupils? Asks your Javed, sir. What does the Nightingale say, though? Love is wiser than philosophy, though she is wise, and mightier than power, though he is mighty. Flame-colored are his wings, and colored like flame is his body. His lips are sweet as honey, and his breath is like frankincense. And you guys are right. This can even be the manifestation of love, Cupid. But I love calling this personified love. So love is wiser than philosophy, though she is personified philosophy, is wise and mightier than power, though he is personified power. Flame-colored are his love's wings, personified love's wings, and colored like flame is his body, personified love's body. His lips are sweet as honey, and his breath is like frankincense. Nangi, if they give you this as an extract, his lips are sweet as honey, and his breath is like frankincense, is the Nightingale talking about the young student, or is the Nightingale talking about personified love? You have to be very careful. The Nightingale is talking about personified love. Could the personified love be? Yes, it can be a manifestation of Cupid. You're right, Tavindu, you're right. It can be a manifestation of Cupid. Agreed, Hamdan. Maybe in the future, okay? Like in Father and Son, right? Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me. I am old, but I'm happy. I was once like you are now, and I know that it's not easy to be calm when you found something going on. Father and Son, by the way, grade 11 poem under the theme of life. We're almost done, okay? Proud of you guys for staying here. We're almost done. In 10 minutes time, we'll be done, okay? So how about this? The student, again, is very theoretical. The student looked up from the grass and listened, but he could not understand what the Nightingale was saying to him. So to be honest, the student never knew that the nightingale sacrificed her life for his red rose. Will the nightingale sacrifice her life? Of course she will, right? The oak tree is where the nightingale has her nest in, right? He was very fond of the little nightingale who had built her nest in his branches. Sing me one last song, he whispered. I shall feel very lonely when you are gone. So the nightingale sang to the oak tree, and her voice was like water bubbling from a silver jar. After that, the young student hears the nightingale song and starts criticizing the nightingale. This part is given in the teacher's guide. This story also tells us about the loopholes in the system of education in a contemporary, no, Thavindu, because that is out of syllabus, right? I think you are reaching out of syllabus. You have to focus only in the topic, in the syllabus, and in the teacher's guide. So we have the 5 themes: conditional love versus sacrificial love. And then there is mere theoretical education creates an imbalanced individual, human hypocrisy and deceit. Right? Those were the themes. So you can't think outside of the box, okay? Whatever you talk about, you can only talk about within the parameters of the lesson. You can only talk about love and education, not your own ideas. You can talk about how mere theoretical education has made the young student imbalance. You can talk about sacrificial love and conditional love. You have to be very careful in the exam. All of your ideas must come from the what guide? Teacher's guide. Right now, the young student is criticizing the nightingale. She has form, he said to himself as he walked away through the grove. What do you mean by a grove? A grove is a collection of trees. Grove. If you guys have played GTA San Andreas, where does CJ live in GTA San Andreas? He lives in Grove Street. Put your hands up if you played GTA San Andreas. Not many of you guys. That's crazy. There was a time when almost all of the boys had played that game. That's crazy. Okay. A few of you have. That's amazing. Okay. A few of you have. So CJ lives in Grove Street. Gonna move forward then. She has form, he said to himself as he walked away through the grove. That cannot be denied to her. But has she got feeling? I am afraid not. In fact, she is like most artists. She is all style without any sincerity. She would not sacrifice herself for others. She thinks merely of music, and everybody knows that the arts are selfish. The young student believes that the arts are selfish. He believes that the nightingale is selfish because of a beautiful song. But the opposite is true, right? Well done, Ammar. Well done, Arunya. We can also find the word grove in the vendor of sweets. Nallappa's grove. In the ending of the vendor of sweets, there's a bearded man. And this bearded man wants to sell Jagan his garden. His garden is near the cremation grounds, passing Nallappa's grove. And I can also, I think I had a map for like the vendor of sweets. Let me show you guys, okay? Here's a map for the vendor of sweets that my graphic design actually made, okay? So this is the complete map for like, it's not named yet, but here's the Lawley statue, right? Jagan's house is somewhere here. There is Market Road. I think Jagan's house is somewhere here. Market Road is somewhere here, right? There is also a place called Nallappa's Grove, passing the river, and Nallappa's Grove is somewhere here. This is the map of Malgudi, okay? We have taken this from one of Narayan's novels called Malgudi Stories. And we actually made our own map for Malgudi. We have not yet named these parts, but isn't this amazing, by the way, right? Crazy. However, there's also Badri Hill. You're right. Badri Hill is somewhere here, right? On top of Badri Hill, there's like a, I think somewhere here, maybe, I hope. Here, right? Here's Badri Hill. Badri Hill is here. So as I was saying, Nallappa's Grove is a place that you find in the vendor of sweets. Badri Hill is here, Nangi. On top of Badri Hill, it's not a mountain, right? Badri Hill, not Badri Mountain, right? That's Badri Hill, I think. And apart from that, Jagan's house must be here near the Lawley statue. So we are that keen with literature that we even made a map for the vendor of sweets. You're right, Sandana Krishna temple on top of Badri Hill. You're right, Arunya. So Nallappa's Grove was found in the vendor of sweets. What do you mean by grove? A grove is a collection of trees. The young student does not believe that the nightingale can be sacrificial, but is wrong. The nightingale is sacrificial. And the nightingale, what does she do? She gives her life in return for a red rose. There's also a song that the nightingale sings when she is being pierced by the thorn. She sings of the love of a boy and a girl. Then she talks about the birth of passion in the soul of a man and a maid. And finally, she talks about love perfected by death. However, when the nightingale dies, the young student finds the red rose right under his window. Can you believe that? And at noon, the student opened his window and looked out. Why? What a wonderful piece of luck. He cried, here is a red rose. I have never seen a rose, any rose like it in all my life. It is so beautiful that I am sure it has a long Latin name. So do you guys know that when scientists, when they find new species of animals or new species of plants and animals, they give it a long Latin name. For example, elephants are called Elephas maximus. Rose is called Rosa rosa. Mango is called Mangifera indica. You're right. Coconuts are called Cocos nucifera or something, right? I hope. So the young student doesn't want to admire the beauty of the red rose. He's looking at it in a very theoretical way, Aisha. He's looking at it in a very theoretical, educated way. He is not valuing the beauty of this red rose. It is so beautiful that I am sure it has a long Latin name, says the young student. And he leaned down and plucked it, and then he put it in his hat. Who is he going to meet now? And ran up to the professor's house with his rose in his hand. The professor's daughter, the daughter of the professor, was sitting in the doorway, winding blue silk on a reel, and her little dog was lying at her feet. So you need a roll of silk, a reel of silk. No, right? Silk is a very expensive kind of a material, right? So why does the professor's daughter have a reel of silk? Because she's a what kind of a person? She's a materialistic person, right? She is a materialistic person, and that is why she has blue silk, a reel of blue silk. And the young student, what will he do with the red rose? Will he eat it? No, he's going to give it to the professor's daughter. What will he expect after he gives her the red rose? He will expect to what with her? But dance with her, right? Here is the reddest rose in all the world. You will wear it tonight next to your heart, and as we dance together, it will tell you how I love you. But the girl frowned. My God, the girl is going to give him the boot. She has deceived him. She's a hypocrite. She's materialistic. I'm afraid it will not go with my dress, she answered. And besides, the Chamberlain's nephew has sent me some real jewels, and everybody knows that jewels cost far more than flowers. Well, upon my word, you are very ungrateful. The young student tells the professor's daughter this. Well, upon my word, you are very ungrateful, said the student arrogantly. And he threw the rose into the street, where it fell into the gutter, and a cartwheel went over it. What did the young student do? He threw the rose into the street, and a cartwheel went over it. It fell inside the gutter. What is the gutter? The small path, the small groove in the corner of the street where dirty water, where wastewater passes, kind of like a drain, right? You're right. It's like adding insult to injury. So tell me, is the nightingale sacrifice useful or useless? It's useless. It's futile. Well, upon my word, you are very ungrateful, said the student arrogantly. And he threw the rose into the street, where it fell into the gutter, and the cartwheel went over it. Ungrateful? She said the girl. I tell you what, you are very rude. And after all, who are you? Rhetorical question, right? And after all, who are you? Only a student? Why, I don't believe you have even got silver buckles to your shoes, as the Chamberlain's nephew has. And she got up from her chair and went into the house. Remember, what does the professor's daughter believe? And besides, who's a Chamberlain? A Chamberlain is a noble, is a noble person, is a high-ranking officer in the royal court. The Chamberlain's nephew has sent me some real jewels, and everybody knows that jewels cost far more than flowers. So the young student is the professor's daughter is a materialistic person. After eating the boot, will the young student honor his love, Or will the young students start criticizing love? What do you guys think? Start criticizing love. What a silly thing love is, said the student as he walked away. It is not half as useful as logic, for it does not prove anything, and it is always telling one of things that are not going to happen and making one believe things that are not true. In fact, it is quite unpractical, and as in this age to be practical is everything, I shall go back to philosophy and study metaphysics. You're right, Abdullah. A chamberlain is a officer, a noble you find in the castle, and that is the Nightingale and the Rose. If you guys want more PDF tutorials, or if you guys want to learn about Isaac.com or how to join our physical classes in Colombo, you guys can drop a message through WhatsApp. I hope that you guys learned something about the Nightingale and the Rose, one of the 4 short stories in your syllabus. All 4 short stories fall under grade 10. The Nightingale and the Rose falls under short fiction or short non-fiction. Falls under short fiction Canepoi by Oscar Wilde. I'm so proud that you guys were here. The time is 9 o'clock. You guys are free. Dab with Javed, sir, baby. Flex with Javed. So I'll see you guys in our next free seminar, or I will see you in my class, physical or online. Yes, you can get the presentations. Drop us a message through Isaac, through WhatsApp. I promise I will share the presentations. Yes, I do, Hamna. And take care and all.